the second time, welcome back to the show. BoxingInsider.com's Hans Themistode. Yes, sir. How we doing, Hans?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. That's a pretty dope entrance. I like it a lot.
We came into StreamYard and we figured out we can do all these different sounds and stuff like that. So I think we're going to be sticking with it for a while to make things a little bit more lively, other than just a blank Zoom call for everybody to be able to watch. So,
Yeah,
but
no, this is definitely a little bit different, but it's still pretty cool though.
yeah, as long as it's cool, that's all we're looking for. We've had a good few weekends of fights. You have been busy. Um, you just got an exclusive with was it Crawford?
Yes, it was Crawford. Yes, yes.
So, I mean, that's big time, man. That, like, just all you want to talk to is you.
Yeah, it was pretty dope, man. Brought like a slight tear to my eye, only slight. So it was pretty dope. Ironically enough, it's actually Crawford's birthday tomorrow, so it's pretty cool.
And then, so I wanted to talk to you about that. Or at least with Crawford Spence. The fight was announced, and then I believe it was Spence in a sparring session tore his bicep or something like that.
Oh no, I mean, don't listen to those rumors, man. Like,
Okay, okay.
people on.
I need to hear from you. What the hell is going on, and why isn't this fight already coming right now?
I mean, when I spoke to Crawford, I'll tell you right now, he told me straight up, don't ask him about the Spence fight. So I respected it and made sure that I didn't ask him about the Spence fight. But the rumors going around was that it was Crawford who like tore his bicep during training. Complete BS, man. Like complete and utter BS, man. Like that same day that those rumors came out, when I saw Crawford, apparently he had like made some bet with like one of his friends and he lost the bet and he did like 25 push-ups. So I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be able to do that with a torn bicep. So yeah, pretty BS.
Oh man. So at this point, all we need to be looking at is you for the straight up stuff instead of
Uh,
all the rumor swirls and all that kind of shit that go on. Because I mean,
I
when
would
it
I
comes to the
wouldn't
fight
say
game,
I wouldn't know because that would be me just like tooting my own horn. I'm not gonna
we'll
do
toot for you.
that.
We'll toot for you. That's fine.
I appreciate it, man, but no, that wouldn't be right. But I mean, there's a lot of reputable guys out there that know exactly what they're talking about. And in my view, from the people that I talk to, the fight is gonna happen, man. Like I'm not gonna lie, it does seem a little weird that no announcement has been made or anything like that. But I am 100% confident that that fight happens next. I'm going to say 99.9% confident that it happens next. So, from
Will
everything
we
that I've
get
been
it?
told, it's going to happen.
Will we get it at the end of the year, or is it something that's going to come next year?
No, it's supposed to be at the end of this year, man. It's supposed to be. I mean, boxing is it's a really weird sport, man. And, you know, sometimes people just lie, or sometimes you get stuff um, when you don't expect it. But I'd be pretty surprised if it didn't happen at the end of this year. And I'd be surprised if either guy fought somebody else in the interim, honestly.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, I mean, again, everyone is foaming at the mouth for this fight. Everyone's been waiting patiently, some impatiently. Obviously, a lot of the words and rumors and stuff like that that go around. I mean, and me myself, I want to see this fight, but the last few weeks we've had some pretty interesting ones. You just covered Shakur and I I don't want to butcher the last name. Con,
County Cal, yes, County Cal,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, I
That
butcher his name all the time.
I mean that fight. Um, I mean the weigh-ins and stuff like that going into it. Shakur was overweight by not by much. It
1 point.
wasn't like it was. Yeah, it wasn't anything egregious or anything like that. But I mean, still had to vacate the titles. He's already said that he's going to go up to 135 now because he can't keep the 130 weight. But when you were there, um, now that we know that Shakur is going into 135, what are Shakur's chances? Because he looked pretty damn good on that in that fight.
No, for sure. Wait, so are you asking me what are the chances? Like what's exactly the question?
No, like what are his chances like going into the 135 division? Like the fights that can be lined up for him, does he stand a good chance in the 135 division?
Um, yeah, it's gonna take it's gonna take somebody that is next friggin' level to beat Shakur, man. Like really, really next level to beat Shakur Stevenson, man. That kid is. I don't even want to call him a kid. He's a grown man, but that dude, he's ridiculous, man. It's kind of hard for me to favor anybody over him. Um, I do think that Devin Haney against Shakur is a fight that you're just like, okay. I wonder what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? I think a lot of
Yeah.
people are also kind of sleeping on Ryan Garcia. If he decides to settle back in at 135, I think he has a hell of a chance against Shakur as well. Um, but a guy that a lot of people are sleeping on is Vasily Lomachenko. And if he comes back on October 29th, looks like Lomachenko, he might be the one guy at 35 that I would possibly favor over Shakur. But he has to look like his normal self. If he does, that's gonna be a real problem, man. A real
I'm trying
problem.
to figure out how Loma is slept on. How
Um,
was it just the last few fights weren't as impressive as it to get like what is it that people are sleeping on Loma for?
no, I wouldn't say his last few fights because his last two fights were against Richard Comey and Nakatani, and he looked incredible. But he is 34 now. I believe he turns 35 in February. He hasn't fought in close to a year, and unfortunately, in boxing, when you see somebody who doesn't have like a perfect record, people kind of
Hmm.
look at him and kind of say, "He's been beat before. He could be beat again." But I'm just telling you, man. If Loma looks like Loma come October 29th, man, I think people kind of forget how incredible
Oh,
Lomachenko is. He's incredible.
oh, yeah, the dude is his footwork, and when I first saw him coming out at the professional level, was I was dumbfounded because the dude moves in ways I haven't really seen anybody move. His angles that he can get on people in the blink of an eye is insane to me. And even at his age, 34, uh, if I'm anybody, and this is my own opinion, if I'm anybody, I would not ever sleep on Lomachenko ever. That dude is
Yeah,
nuts.
I mean, yeah, but I remember I was talking to Tim Bradley maybe like 2 months ago or something like that, and he did favor. I think he favored both Haney and Shakur over Loma. He said that Loma's a great fighter, but he did favor them both over him, and he made it a point to say that if you take away Loma's angles, then he's a pretty regular fighter. but it's like almost impossible to take away his angles, though. You know, it's almost impossible. So good luck with doing that, man.
Yeah, it's like what you're talking about an elite level boxer here. Like that just it yeah, like I said, good luck. It's easier said than done, for sure.
Mm.
And we also had uh Triple G and Canelo, which I saw the fight, with my grandpa for the first time in a long time. I finally got to watch some boxing with him, and that fight to me, one did not look at all like the old Triple G, and it was just I don't know if it's old just age or what it was, but Canelo was running circles around him.
Yeah, but that I mean, it shouldn't have came to a surprise to anybody. Um, I know there was a few people that were kind of picking Triple G. The majority were picking Canelo, but Triple G hasn't looked the same since maybe his second fight against Canelo. I'm trying to think who he fought after that. But yeah, it's been quite a while since Triple G actually looked like Triple G. So it wasn't surprising at all. I didn't expect Canelo to stop him because unless you have a baseball bat, you're not gonna stop Triple G. Like that's just not gonna happen. And plus, I kind of notice. I don't even notice it, but fighters have told me that when there's a guy that kind of talks a lot of crap and he says he's gonna go for the knockout, in the back of their minds, they're trying to make sure that okay, I'm not gonna get knocked out. Like, yeah, they want to win, but they're always trying to make sure they don't get knocked out and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Triple G just not that guy anymore, unfortunately, man. He's 40 years old, man. He's not that guy anymore.
I mean, with I kind of looked at this as a Canelo taking a fight after getting beat by Bivol to, I guess, like a regaining of confidence type of thing. It's Triple G, it's the trilogy that people were waiting for, I guess, for a long time and stuff like that. I know I can beat this guy. Just kind of get all the confidence in the world back up. But do you see Canelo going up in weight again? Because when he did fight against Evil, he seemed uncomfortable at
Um,
that weight class.
yeah, I see him going back up to 75. Um, I know Bivol has said before that he can make 68, and I don't doubt that he can. But if Canelo were to fight Bivol at 68 and win that fight, he wouldn't get as much credit as he would if he fought him again at 75. So
Hmm.
to me, I think he's gonna fight him at 75. Canelo has a lot of balls, man. A lot of balls. He lost that fight fair and square, and he was just like, nah, I need that win back, and I'm gonna fight you at your weight class. So that's what I see him doing for sure. And I think it's the right thing to do too.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's not one to, or at least in my opinion, he doesn't seem to be one to be ducking fights. I mean, with 52 wins under his belt, that's a lot of fights, and only two of them coming to one a weight class that again at that time it just he felt uncomfortable, and the first
Can,
one was to Mayweather.
Canelo actually has 58 wins. When I just thought
50,
about
I'm so sorry,
it.
58
58.
wins.
Yeah,
I apologize for the disrespect, Canelo. I'm sorry.
yeah.
58 wins.
Yeah.
Like the guy, he's gonna go down in history as one of the best boxers to do it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think, at least I think so. And I mean, with people still, and I actually wanted to ask you this because this was something that was weighing on my mind a little bit. There are a lot of people who have Floyd Mayweather as the number one boxer of all time.
Mhm.
I know you got to be unbiased in certain opinions. I mean, current fighters and everything else like that now, but overall, when you see guys who fight as often as what Julio Cesar Chavez once did, and with Canelo and all of these guys who have 50 plus fights,
Mhm.
50-0 to me just doesn't seem as impressive as the other guys. And I honestly, I liked Floyd better as Pretty Boy than I liked him as Money. So it was. I mean, me personally, I maybe have Floyd, just cracking the top 10 because with all these other records, all of these other fighters, what they've done, so it seems a little bit more impressive to me.
Um, I mean, it's a fair point. Um, I mean, I think a lot of people would say that Pretty Boy Floyd was better than Money May, mostly because Pretty Boy Floyd was fighting all of the killers and beating all of them down relatively easy as well. I think Money May probably gets a little bit underrated. Um, you really couldn't touch you really couldn't touch him. Honestly, you really couldn't touch him. And I get it. Julio Cesar Chavez has a shit ton of fights. Sugar Ray Robinson, a shit ton of fights. Um, but people gotta also remember that it was I mean, they weren't fighting killers every single time they stepped into the ring. You know what I mean? Like they weren't. And I'm not saying that Floyd always did, but Floyd fought consistently top level guys. Even when you look back at like his record, you could probably point and laugh at a guy like Virgil Ortiz or Robert Guerrero, but at the time, those guys were like top level guys. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? So, no, they won't make the Hall of Fame or anything like that, but they were good guys and good, credible opponents. For me, Floyd is not the best ever. He's not, but I guess you could put him somewhere in the top five. But it also wouldn't surprise me. Like me personally, I wouldn't put him as the greatest ever. However, it's gonna sound a little dumb, but if every fighter ever came back and everybody was in their prime, I'd have a hard time choosing anybody against Floyd. Like just a really hard time. Doesn't matter who it was.
Hmm.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, doesn't really matter. I'd have a really hard time picking anybody against him.
I mean, that's not saying like that's not directly saying he's the greatest of all time, but that's kind of saying like if we're putting everybody in their prime,
It is
he's
almost
kind of
like
the greatest of all time.
it is kind of like me saying it. That's why I said I knew it was going to sound a little dumb, but it's just hard to see him ever losing because Floyd had just a ridiculous chin. He
Hmm.
rarely ever got hurt. He would rarely ever hit with punches. So it was just like if it was going to decision, it was most likely going to be lopsided. So I just have a hard time seeing him ever really lose, like against like the all-time greats and stuff like that. But with that said, I don't have him above a guy like Roy Jones, Muhammad
Hmm.
Ali, guys like that. I don't have him above, but is he like right there? Absolutely. If somebody wants to call him TBE, I'm not gonna argue with you. I just don't think he is, but dude was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't take away like what he's done. It's just from when I look at boxing, I kind of look at I almost do kind of look at quantity of work because when I look at some of these older fighters, they took fights like one after the other, one after the other, after the other, and now nowadays I'm seeing guys ducking fights. I'm seeing guys, oh, this isn't the right time. This isn't like it's kind of for me personally. I just kind of look like you want to prove you're the best. You should fight anybody who knocks on your door at any point in time. But it's become more of like a business aspect. Like what's better for me at this? It's not good for me to fight this guy. It's not. He might actually take away from my record early, and that's off to me.
Yeah, I agree. Trust me. I agree, man. 'Cause boxing is just a it's a very, very weird sport to me. Like I truly love it. I truly enjoy covering it live and writing about it, getting the interviews. It's awesome. You know what I mean? But to me, it never really makes sense how, I don't know, a guy like Floyd could end up fighting a guy like Conor McGregor. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, yeah, it's money and stuff like that and whatever, but I've always felt that boxing should always follow the UFC model. You know what I mean? Like, if you're the champ, then you're gonna fight the number one contender. You beat him, you're gonna fight the number two, the number three, the number four, the number five. They're just gonna go down. Like, at no point should you ever, as a champion, fight a guy who's ranked like number 5,000 or something like that. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know how. A few years ago, Danny Garcia ended up fighting a Rod Salka. Like, that fight should have never happened. Like, it just doesn't really. I don't get that. So yeah, stuff like that kind of
These
annoys me.
warm up sparring fights that they set up, and I kind of feel sorry for boxing fans because pay all this good money and stuff to go watch and support, and they love the sport and everything else like that, and they keep getting you know fed two plates of dog shit, and here, let's water it down with some piss too. Like, it's just it to me. I look at it like, again, I'm one of those guys just like you. I love the boxing game. I love the sport, everything about it, because it's literally just mano a mano, you and I, in the middle of this ring. Whoever the best man is the one who's walking out of here with the W.
Mhm.
And to see, and from one point in time where boxing, everyone's fighting each other, just no matter what, whoever comes down, to now it's, I would hope sometime soon they would take that UFC model of, go, number one contender, and go down and
Well,
everything else like that. But it's just, will it
well,
ever happen?
Well, boxing has always been like that, though. It's never been, go back as far as you want. It's never been like, oh, okay, the champ, he's always gonna fight the number one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 contender. Like, okay, maybe he'll fight the number five, maybe he'll fight the number one, maybe he'll fight the number 15. So boxing has always been like that. You know what I mean? And it's never gonna change. And it's not me, and it's not meant to be like, a guy like Rod Salka should never get like a title shot or anything like that. But it's just like, even in like the sanctioning bodies, it's like, the WBC can have a guy like Jaron Ennis ranked number 13, and a guy like Stanionis ranked like number two. And then the WBA would have it like flipped and whatever. So it's like, well, why are these ranked so highly over here, but he's not ranked so highly over here? You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's always just a little bit weird, honestly. But that's the sport, man. It'd be like that sometimes.
So the fights that are gonna be coming up, I got the boxing schedule right up here with everything. Also, Fury, uh,
Nah, come on.
basically he gave Joshua a deadline, and that's it. So that's never gonna happen.
It's gonna
Fury
happen.
Joshua.
It's gonna happen. But everybody knew that wasn't no real deadline, man. Like, come on, man. Like, everybody knew that, man. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't think that fight was gonna happen. I think a lot of people were just hopeful because Tyson said that, and then Eddie Hearn came out and said, "Yo, he's gonna sign it." Anthony Joshua came out and said he's gonna sign it. So it's like, yeah, but when you start negotiating stuff in the public eye, it's like, okay, you're kind of just trying to shame somebody into being like, oh, see, he didn't take the fight. Offered it to him. You all saw it. You all heard it. You're trying to publicly embarrass the guy. You know what I mean? Which I think isn't right to Anthony Joshua, who's a great friggin' fighter and gets a whole bunch of shit now for no reason. He fights all of the top guys. And I'm 100% sure that I'm 100% sure that Anthony Joshua wanted that fight right now, even coming off 2 losses. That's just how Anthony
Mm-hmm.
Joshua is.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be that one. I feel like is going to be interesting to see, and I've seen Joshua take fights, and when he takes things personal, he takes things to a whole nother level. And Fury does have a good way of getting under opponent's skin with the trash talk, with the, everything else like that. And him being as big and dominant as he is, it's kind of how do you really tell this guy no when he backs it up?
Yeah,
So
for
it's
sure, for sure. And I mean, I was still gonna take Fury in that fight anyways, but you know, I mean, I tell you this, Joshua has a way better chance of beating Tyson Fury than he did at beating um Usyk. Because Tyson Fury is just gonna, I mean, at least the new Tyson Fury, he seems to just be like a really aggressive guy. He's not as herky jerky, but he's a pretty aggressive guy and comes forward and throws punches. And call Joshua what you want, but he's still big as hell, strong as shit, and punches hard as anybody. So okay, I'm telling you, man, he got a real chance in that fight.
I can see it happening. So I got two picks for you.
Mhm.
All right. Haney Kambosos Jr. for the undisputed lightweight titles coming October 15th. You got
Mhm.
Haney or you got Kambosos?
Haney, Haney.
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 Okay.
I think
And
Campos is
then
going to make it really interesting, though. But Haney should win.
and then in January 28th, you got Charlo and
Oh, Tim Tszyu.
yes,
Oh,
for the undisputed junior middleweight titles.
yo, it's actually a close fight, man. It's actually a really close fight, man. People are looking at Tim Tszyu because when he came to the States and then he fought Terrell Goucher, he got dropped and whatever. He's a little young, a little green, but yo, he could really fight and he puts on a lot of pressure, man, and throws a lot of shots. So I actually think that's a pretty close fight. But I'm taking Charlo. I think Charlo. I got Charlo like in my top three pound for pound. I think
Oh,
he's like such an amazing fighter, man. Like he's
so
amazing.
you
It's
you
ridiculous.
got you definitely got him higher than most people do on their pound for pound list.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't respect him, and I don't know why. He can either bang it out with you in the middle of the ring, or he could box circles around you. Either way, he's amazing, man. Like really, really amazing. So I respect the hell out of Jamal Charlo, like a lot.
And we absolutely respect the hell out of you, Hans. Anytime, once again, man, anytime you want to come on the show, we talk boxing, talk anything in the fight game, the door is open. Love hearing more from you, my friend. Appreciate you for coming on.
God, you appreciate it, man. You already know. Whenever you need me, I'll come by. I appreciate you.
I'll hold you to it, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen from BoxingInsider.com, Hans Themistode.
and
Appreciate you
and
again,
and
Hans.
and I'm actually with Boxing Scene now, not Boxing Insider. So just giving you a heads
Ah,
up.
boxing scene. Boxing scene. Start. There you go. BoxingScene.com. There you go.
God.